AYIN, AYIN, la la la. Ay, la la, la 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 la, my, la la.
So we are in the second section on page Kuf Lamed Vov. Effectively, the top section left us a bit perplexed. But the Rebbe compares, he likens light coming from a candle or from the sun to heat coming from a fire. And the comparison that the Rebbe points out is the fact that just as light illuminates the house, for example, brings the house to focus automatically or without effort, brings out the whole reality of the house without an effort to engage in bringing this out. The same is in the heat. But then, as we pointed out, in heat, the effect of the heat is much more profound than the effect of light. The light is there only as long as the luminary is present, whereas the heat actually heats up the metal. And yet the Rebbe says that there's a similarity there. And this is, I said, left for us the Mitzvah now to get to the bottom of this, or to the top of this. Omnam, however, in truth, however, Yesh Mila Yisera Be'oil Gabe Shefa. There's a Mila, advantage, superiority, an additional superiority in oil relative to Shefa. What is that alluding to? It's alluding to the fact that we have said till now that Shefa, there is an actual transmission in a mahus, an actual bestowment of substance, whereas in oil it's only ha'or. However, the Rebbe says there is an additional superiority, a supremacy, a certain quality that oil gives, and it is greater than even relative to Shefa. What is this superiority? She'oil hu me'ein hamoir. The great thing about oil is that the oil is me'ein hamoir. Is of the me'ein means of similar makeup, similar presence as the moir. The statement of the oir and the statement of the moir are equivalent. They both make the same statement. We will discuss it again, but obviously. This puts the oir in a category much superior to that of Shefa, even though they both are ha'ora. to put it bluntly, so to speak, in order to give us a beginning to understand what the Rebbe is saying. We all know that when in learning about that in transmitting Chochmah, Seichel, a great effect, a great part of it is when the Mashpia and the Makabel are looking at each other. They meet, their eyes meet. Much of the understanding is transmitted via this connection. Not only by the words, but by this connection. I mentioned many times that when one is explaining a seichel to someone else, he immediately senses how the seichel affects him, how he understands it, and he's able to modify it and to bring it in closer to him and so forth. Now, let us. This is like a person-to-person relationship. This is much more than the words. And here is a blanket question. Imagine if it were possible to transmit a seichel by looking at your student. Just by looking at each other, you already get the gist of the seichel. Then what would be transmitted is an entirely different kind of a seichel. Then the seichel that would be transmitted from the mashpia to the makabel is not a seichel translated and transmitted to the makabel. It is exactly what the mashpia has. Ma'ayin ha-mashpia. It's exactly his own sense of it. This is what's being transmitted. Do I have you with me?
Can I ask something?
Go ahead.
On this. Would that mean like body language? If to perceive a cycle direct, would that be like?
Body, what do you think?
I think it's directly transmitted because you see it, how it plays out on the person itself. It's not.
I think that you have to think a little bit more. This, when the mashpia sees that the makabel understands, it's a confirmation. It's not the seichel itself at all. I said that this is. All right, let's leave that body language. Body language is a completely different thing.
Okay.
So I'm asking you, so to speak, a point-blank question. Clearly, when a person learns something, thinks of seichel, and we said many times the seichel is actually drawn from the oineg and rotzen ha-nefesh, from the truth of the nefesh. He is at this moment actually relating and associating and sees how the seichel is in its origin, in its source. And this is why there is, so to speak, this excitement, this, so to speak, the eye shine and so forth. Imagine the seichel were to be transmitted to the makabel just by this, at this level, in this manner. The mashpia doesn't even have to explain anything to makabel. The makabel is observing the brightness of the mashpia's face, and he gets a seichel.
So therefore, what's the question here? So now,
imagine if this were possible.
Yeah.
Then this seichel would be me'ein hamoir.
Okay.
It would be not a seichel translated to the makabel. It would be a seichel as it is in the Mashpia. This is what the Rebbe is saying. But this is not possible, of course, in Seichel. This is the Maili Seiro, a superior quality, an additional, much greater than in Hashpah, in Oir. Because Oir is Mein HaMoir. The Hashpah of Oir is a completely different manner and different level. The relationship of the Oir to the Moir is a completely different level than the Shefa to the Mashpia.
The example which was given, that oil, is not being translated in the Makabel's own kailim, so to say, would be like Riyah. When you see something, you see it, you see the truth of how it is.
But what did I say? I said, imagine if Seichel could be transmitted by looking at each other. I'm thinking of Seichel the way I think it to myself. And we look at each other and you get the Seichel. This is, of course, not possible.
I'm imagining that this would be much easier on you.
Thank you for your concern. I'm just giving you, so to speak, a point-blank message in terms of what the Rebbe is saying. Oyer has a special mile for its Ein HaMoyer.
Would the Makabel end up with the real deal or just some kind of or? Because it says She'oru me'ena ma'or. So what, the Makabel then receives the real deal, or he just for that moment gets a sight?
Well, the truth is that this which I'm pointing out is not really, there's no possibility like that.
Right, but just to have a sense of what this mile is, I'm not sure I'm getting what's being said. Ish maila seira or lagabe shefa.
If this were possible,
yeah.
That's what I said. If this is possible, then the seichel that the Makabel would be getting is exactly the way the seichel is by the Mashpia.
And he'd have it, and therefore what? He'd have it with the same certainty as we.
No, not certainty. No.
Shefa. He'd have it with the same fundamental way as he had in Shefa, or not?
No. I hear you translating this, but it's much more than that, than the certainty. It's the reality.
But again, that would be now for him an inner reality, or he'd see it in the distance like I see the room.
No, then it would be an inner reality. Then he would be able to put a head on his shoulder.
Okay, so the second point is then, since this is not possible, how's this helping us to get what the mile is of Or?
This is exactly the point. In Shefa, this is not possible. In Oyer, however, this is like that. And therefore, this is pointing out how the mile of Oyer. There's a mile Yisrael on Oyer. Because in Oyer it is Mein HaMoyer.
So then a mashal that a mashal that is not an impossibility where you actually do see this mile would be like.
There is no.
There is
Shefa, there is none. I'm just saying. There's Oyer, there is this thing. So I said, imagine if we had the same thing in Shefa.
So this, okay.
That's not really possible.
Ishmael Yusera Or goes on this impossible situation, or there's something more close to us.
No. Ishmael Yusera is to understand how it is in Oyer. The reason I brought this in is to show what the Rebbe is speaking about in Oyer. We speak in Oyer in such a thing which is not possible in Shefa. Just to get us clarity what the Rebbe is referring to. This is in Oyer, exclusively in Oyer. In Shefa, that is not possible. One second. Is that clear?
I think so. I'm just not sure I'm getting this advantage that light has was illustrated by an impossible scenario, so it's to indicate something to us. But is there any
1 second.
scenario
No,
that's
no, no,
closer?
no. Please understand. No, please understand. I understand. Please understand the position from which it's being said. No, it's not demonstrating by that. It is contrasting it and saying, look, the Rebbe says, Yesh Ma'ala Yisera Ba'oir, L'gabe Shefa. And what is the Ma'ala Yisera Ba'oir Shefa? She'ha'oir Ha'mein Ha'moir.
Okay.
That's exclusively. So I said, what is this Ma'ala? Let's, so to speak, focus in and identify what this Ma'ala, this great Ma'ala is. This great Ma'ala is, if you translate this Ma'ala were possible to translate in Shefa, here is what you would get.
Okay.
Still, it bothers me still because
I'm
it's
sorry?
always explained. It still bothers me because it's always explained that in Riya we see it as it is. You're not translating it in your own kailam. This is like Chochmah. So now we
The
say
is
that
oir, not shefa.
so we do have this phenomenon of seeing the way how it is and not how you translate it in your own kailam.
That's oir.
But we have the capacity to able to
But
perceive
then
oil.
you don't have the seichel. You have shefa, you only have oir.
No.
We have shefa, we don't have oil. But now we're saying in Riya we see it the way it's in the source.
What
not
do
how
you see when you look at the mashpia? What do you see? You see the seichel.
No, I'm speaking when we see something, not about.
When you
not
see
about the
something,
sight.
that's oir.
So we do have this phenomenon of seeing the way the.
Yes,
things,
of
how
course
the
we
way
do.
it is.
Of course we do. But then you have only oil, not shefa. That's what Rebbe says. There's a ma'ala you say about oil gabe shefa, because oil is meinam oil. Yeah, of course we do. But then you have oil, not shefa.
And this is what we learned always, that Chochmah is like Riya. It's not mamish like this.
So what is the difference? We're going to. Okay, you ask a question. Here's the answer. Chochmah is like Riya, but you can't even grasp what you have in Chochmah. If Chochmah doesn't get translated in Bina, you have nothing.
Okay.
Okay, so we have clear. I brought this contrast in Shefa, the possibility in Shefa, in order to bring out the clear emphasis why this is a Ma'ala Yisera Ba'oir L'gabe Shefa. In Shefa, this is not even possible. Yet in oil, this is exactly how it happens. She'ha'oiru mein ha'moed. Which means that what oil transmits is not a retranslated aspect from the moir, but it is me'ein ha'moir. It's actually the reality of the moir itself that's being transmitted and expressed in oil. As in the example.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
Okay. So the word ma'ain is not, normally you think of the word ma'ain as being like the chaf hadimye. It's like this. That's not what the word ma'ain means.
Ma'ain does not mean like this. It means much more than like this. The word ayin, comes from the word ayin, the eye, the appearance.
Okay. So ma'ain means it appears.
One
like.
second.
Yes, sir.
Color. So the color is referred to like ain. Color is not a substance. color we take color, those who are sensitive to color, only the ruchnius, the sensitivity of color. There is no substance in color. And yet it has a tremendous effect. The reason it has a tremendous effect is that the color is a reflection of what the etzem is.
You said, I didn't get your word. You said it's a reflection?
Right, it's a reflection of what the etzem is. Much more than a shefa. It's actual message from the etzem itself. It's customary to bring flowers as a gift home. The flowers have many qualities. Pleasant smell, pleasant appearance, but the main thing of the flower is the color. The color of the flower is reflective of life itself, so to speak. You cannot express it in any other way. This is why, on the one hand, a flower it's very costly and it's a waste of money. But it's a statement of flower is much deeper than any other. For those who observed it, I know my wife, if somebody gives a flower, there cannot be a better gift. It touches to the core. Because of the AYIN, because it's a reflection of the spirit. This means oir me'ein hamoir. And the Rebbe explains, ukmoy as an example, as in the case, oir v'ziv hashemesh, the light and the shine of the shemesh. The word ziv we have not yet dared to open up. Eventually we'll get to that. Oir Hashemesh, the light of the sun, to us, on the simplest level, the simple-minded as we are, Oir Hashemesh means the fact that the light illuminates my house, makes me able to see ahead. But then there is always Ziv Hashemesh. The Ziv Hashemesh is not that which has an effect on my pathway. Ziv HaShemesh is that which tells me about the Shemesh itself. The shine of the Shemesh itself is a statement what Shemesh is. It goes together with Oir. But Oir carries two levels. The effect of the Oir and the reality of the Oir. In the oil there is a ziv hashemesh. Or there is a reflection of what shemesh is. So in the oil, the ziv hashemesh. This is why oil and ziv hashemesh are used together. At least this is my understanding. Because ziv hashemesh by itself would not mean much to us. Because oil is something which we experience. The Rebbe says oil, and in the oil there is a ziv. The ziv tells you about the shemesh itself, not the effect of it. And that is the deeper effect, the deeper message.
Up until now, we've sort of been implying that without the word, because our understanding of the word was that it sort of somehow contains that.
That's right. Okay. We expanded on it. Oy v'ziv hashemesh harehu me'en hashemesh. It is me'en hashemesh, is of the eye of the shemesh. In the terms of the way we explained, it's a color of the shemesh. Wait a second. The Oy HaShemesh has heat. It's not just the eye, it's not just the color. The essence and the deepest message in Oy V'ziv HaShemesh is not the heat. The heat is a means of the coarseness of the world to do away with the ruchnius of what the Rebbe should put into the world. Oy v'ziv hashemesh is the ziv, is the finer aspect in the shemesh. That the Rebbe says, Shehu mein hashemesh, shehu behiri. What is mein hashemesh? Why is the Oy v'ziv hashemesh mein hashemesh? Mein means of the same eye, of the finest aspect of what this is. This is not the tangible physical aspect, or the finest aspect of it, the eye of it. Just like the eye is the most sensitive organ that we have. You touch the eye with anything that doesn't belong there, you would disturb the eye. Even a touch, because eye is extremely sensitive. Eye is a reflection of the actual sense of life itself. So Oy v'ziv Hashem is me'ein hamoir, is of the eye of the moir. What is the expression you always say? He is the
apple of the eye.
Apple of the eye. Why? The life is eye is a reflection of the life element itself. And this Oy v'ziv hashemesh is me'ein hashemesh, is of the eye of the shemesh. What is it? Shehu behiri.
Behiri?
Behiri. You know Lashon Kodesh.
I forgot.
Bright.
Right. Ba'ir. Okay.
Ba'ir.
So Ba'ir, Be'iri. Okay. Thank you.
What is the principle of the shemesh? There's heat. There's all kinds of different things. Behiri. That's what shemesh is. It's bright. This is the essence of the shemesh. The shemesh affects in the world or affects on anything. But then there is what shemesh, defined in shemesh itself. Oy v'ziv hashemesh, oy not shemesh, the oy v'ziv hashemesh is shehu behiri. It is bright. Again, let me take the couple minutes that I have to call our attention to to what this means. The minute you say behiri, we in our wisdom, behiri means it lights up the world. Again, be translated immediately on some kind of a physical effect. This is not what the Rebbe is alluding to. This is what the Rebbe is trying to get us our attention to it. We're not talking about what the shemesh affects, what the action of the shemesh. We're talking about the definition of shemesh per se. The oil v'ziv hashemesh is behiri. Is bright. I'm repeating it because I like that we should. I said there are certain things, not certain things. All real seichel is that which you look into your own source of seichel. That which is being transmitted in words is always short of what the reality itself, especially in these finer elements.
Here, this is not related to the just.
It's not related, please.
The dialect of Behiri, in Hebrew, it's the dialect is Behiri, and when you say Behiri,
that's
so
why
this
you
is
didn't
why
understand.
I didn't understand.
Okay, this is Yiddish.
No, when you speak in Tel Aviv,
okay, fine. Done.
Done.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm insisting on Behiri. Okay.
I'm telling you.
And from what we learned, a candle would not have a zip. Is that correct?
Candle would not have a what?
Would not have the same effect. First, let's understand what the Rebbe is saying, and then we'll expand it to a candle. The oil b'ziv hashemesh is me'ein hashemesh, has the eye of the shemesh, is of the same makeup of the shemesh itself. What does the oil b'ziv hashemesh speak about, tell you about itself? That it's behiri. What does behiri mean? Again, I'm not talking about its effect on the environment. I'm talking about itself. The behirius of the oil b'ziv hashemesh the purity of the behirus of Hashem is said about a candle or anything else. A candle, it'll be confusing if you go there. The behirus of Hashem is phenomenal. Why? Because it is not a behirus that comes from consuming fuel of something which is not behiri. Oil b'ziv hashemesh is behiri, and this is its entire being. This is its entire mitzvah. It is behiri through and through. It is not